Norfolk District Attorney Michael Morrissey has announced that a murder warrant has been issued in the death of Ana Walshe, the Cohasset mother, who has been missing since on or about New Year's Day. Of course, you're looking at video of her husband, Brian Walshe, now charged with murder in connection with Ana Walshe's disappearance. He had been charged with interfering with the investigation. WBZ's chief I-Team investigative reporter Cheryl Fiandaca joins me now to discuss this. And so, Cheryl, bring us up to date on why this would have been issued today.
Well, it looks like the DNA and all of the blood evidence probably came back by now. We know that they found a knife that was partially broken in the basement of the home. They know they found some other blood evidence there. They found other evidence at a site where they were searching here in Peabody. All of this evidence from this site here, taken from the mother's dumpster. The mother of Brian Walshe lives in Swampscott. This was a dumpster outside her condominium where the evidence here was found in. Sources tell us the evidence there involved a hacksaw, a hatchet, some blood, and cleaning supplies, and all of that obviously would have gone to be tested at the state lab as well. And all of that evidence by now would have come back, and they would have all of what they would need to file the warrant for his arrest on the murder charge. And you know, a lot of folks don't know, but you can file murder charges against someone without having the body. Circumstantial evidence, while a lot of folks think that you cannot be convicted on circumstantial evidence, in fact you can be, and many people are every day.
Right, so an arraignment will be scheduled for tomorrow, as early as tomorrow, they're saying, at 9 a.m. in Quincy District Court. And again, for people who have not been paying close attention, Ana Walshe was reported missing several days into 2023 by her husband after it had been reported that she had left her 3 small children, allegedly gone to do business in Washington, D.C., but it was that gap in the timeline, right, that he said she had left the home on New Year's Day, but he didn't report her missing until days later. And then, as you point out, what looks like extremely damning evidence found in the basement of the home with the blood and the bloody knife.
Right. I mean, he apparently calls her employer looking for her, saying that he's not heard from her. Her employer reports her missing, but that's days after he says that she left for a work trip, a work emergency trip in Washington, D.C. And also a friend of the family who had been having dinner with him, he says he was having dinner with him. We of course haven't verified that other than what they say. Said that she seemed happy and fine and the couple seemed fine. And at first, the police actually came out and said, we don't think there's anything sinister here. We don't think this is a crime. We're just looking for her, and we're asking folks to come forward with information. But really, within a matter of days, all of that turned into something much more serious.
Let's listen. Here's the Norfolk DA.
Detectives from the Cohasset Police Department and the Massachusetts State Police detectives assigned to the Norfolk District Attorney's Office have been involved in an intensive investigation into the fate of Ana Walshe, a 39-year-old Cohasset mother of 3, since she was first reported missing on January 4th. Early in this investigation, the police developed probable cause to believe that her husband, Brian Walshe, age 47, had misled police investigators on material matters important to the search for Ana Walshe. He has pled not guilty to those charges and is currently being held at the Norfolk County House of Correction. The continued investigation has now allowed police to obtain an arrest warrant charging Brian Walshe with the murder of his wife. Mr. Walshe will be transported to the Quincy District Court for arraignment on the charge of murder. Additional details of the investigation and the evidence in support of those charges are likely to be presented at arraignment, but will not be disclosed at this time. This marks the second allegation of domestic violence homicide in Norfolk County in less than a month. Our thoughts are very much with the family these crimes have left behind.
So there is the Norfolk DA. So Cheryl, 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, arraignment in Quincy District Court. What happens to Brian Walshe now? Is there something different about where he'll be held? what happens next for him?
No, he will probably still remain where he is. He's being held on charges of misleading investigators, and he's also out awaiting sentencing on a federal case where he was on an electronic monitoring bracelet. So he's going nowhere on both of those cases. So he'll be held until they either have a probable cause hearing on these new charges, or they do a direct indictment to Superior Court, which is probably quite likely.
Yeah. What are your sources telling you about this evidence that as it was being gathered? We had seen in those first days where it became obvious that something sinister had happened here. There was a search behind a grocery store about a mile from their home. Then that fell off. Then they searched the house. There have been other areas in and around their home in Cohasset being searched. If they never locate her body, what does that mean for this case? And the PBD landfill, we saw that as well.
Right. It looks like they went through a very methodical investigation. They searched the home, they gathered evidence there, they searched a number of other locations, they drained the family's pool in the backyard, they searched the entire woods, they took the trash from Brian Walsh's mother's condominium in Swampscott and searched through that, where they found a number of other items of evidence, and they gathered all of it and brought it to the state crime lab, where I assume at this point in time, the fact that they're bringing these charges, that DNA and blood evidence has come back that directly connects him to her murder, to Ana Walsh's murder.